For content information and a link to the written version of this story, please check the description. This week's story is based on A Light Princess by George MacDonald, 1864. If you would like to support this channel, and me in general, please consider donating to my Cash App. The link is in the description down below, and my cash code is on the screen. Now on to the story. The day of Princess Iona's birth would forever change her kingdom. The baby showed so much power that upon being born, her mother Queen Ishbael passed away. This was not an unusual occurrence within the kingdom, but what was when the baby princess floated out of the womb and up to the canopy of the queen's bed. The princess would have continued to drift upward if she hadn't been caught by the cloth. Rumours about how Iona received her ability spread around the kingdom. Some claimed that the queen was a witch, others that the princess had been cursed. But none of these theories bothered the soon-to-be queen regnant. She knew why she could float. She was just born that way, and she loved it. Her advisors in the court were not so keen. They were concerned that her affliction would be a detriment to her capability to rule. Her coronation was fast approaching. Her father had died years ago with no more children, and until now, Iona's uncle Prince Cole had been her protector. Now he was claiming the throne of his eldest brother. Princess Iona was for the remaining months leading up to her 21st birthday under protecting of her mother's surviving sister, her auntie Misogyny. Misogyny was not keen on her niece taking the throne and instead conspired to place one of Prince Cole's 7 sons on the throne instead. The only problem being, Iona was already sitting on the throne. In fact, they strapped her down to it to prevent her from floating away. No one wanted any harm to come to the beautiful princess. They could not risk untying her and seeing her sail into the sun, so they had to come up with a plan. They were going to fabricate her death. It was a simple plan. No way it could go wrong, until it did. Misogyny ordered 2 guards to abduct the princess as she slept and carry her away to a carriage waiting outside the castle. There the carriage would take her far away to live in peace. Only when the guards untied Iona, she floated up to the ceiling. "Fools!" Misogyny cried. "How are we going to get her down from there?" The guards glanced at each other and shrugged. "A ladder?" Misogyny placed her hand to her face and walked away. "Yes, get a ladder," she muttered to herself, and as her feet tapped against the hard floor, the guards retrieved a ladder, but it was too short. They weren't sure what to do. It appeared Princess Iona would never get down from the high ceiling. Perhaps no one would look up, one guard claimed. "The candle changer will when he changes the candles on the hanging candelabra," the other groaned. The 2 men looked up, baffled how they could get her down. "We could shoot her down with an arrow," the first guard whispered with an evil look in his eye. The other guard slapped him. "We had to fake her death, not actually kill her. No harm is to come of her." It had been hours since the princess has become stuck, and she now stirred awake. "How did I get up here?" She looked down upon the guards. "I say, sirs, how did I get up here?" She called down. "Your straps became loose, your highness, and you floated up." The guard gave a half-truth. "Oh, I see. Well, this is a problem," Iona thought to herself. "Have you tried a ladder?" The guard shrugged. "It was ever short, your highness." The princess had a long think of what to do. "I know. Shoot up an arrow with a rope attached to it, and I'll see if I can climb down." And so the guards did that, and the princess could indeed climb down to her throne, where she was strapped down again, extra tight this time. Misogyny entered the throne room, relieved to see the guards had done their job. "My beautiful niece, you look so pretty today." She smiled, taking a seat next to her. She waved a guard over and whispered, "When she falls asleep again, do what we said, and this time, do not foil it." In his ear, the guard nodded. "We wait till night." He said it out loud, and Princess Iona asked, "What was that?" Misogyny shook her head in annoyance, and the guard was quick to make up a lie. "I said I'll go and meet the night out, your highness. We are to have a game of badminton outside in the courtyard." Iona smiled. "That sounds fun. May I come along to watch?" And so another problem had befallen them. They had pulled the throne out to the courtyard. They had set badminton net up, and the guard stood awkwardly with a racket. They had briefed and dragged the knight out to play, Neither knight nor guard knew how to play, and this posed an issue. Makermoy would see that both would lose their head for lying to royalty. The princess may be more forgiving, but she didn't have the final say, so the guard and the knight played for their life. They played so hard that the naked eye couldn't even see the shuttlecock. It was dashing back and forth so much, the shuttlecock soared through the sky and smacked itself into Princess Iona's lap with such a force that one of her belts almost snapped off. A gasp filled the courtyard, and it was done. "You'll meet the block for this," Makermoy declared to the disgust of Princess Iona. "Spare them!" she screamed, but the crowd was so loud no one heard her. She used her feet to pull herself on and her throne forwards. She shuffled unseen among the commotion. She reached a guard who had been forced to his knees. The sword of another guard was ready, and with a swift swipe it missed. Instead, the blade had sliced through the rest of Iona's belts. Only one strap held her in place, but with the pressure of the princess sliding from her seat, it gave way. It was the strap that had been weakened earlier by the force of the shuttlecock. Makermoy shielded her eyes from the glare of the overlooking sun as she saw the silhouette of her niece float out of reach. She was stuck in a tree. A powerful gust of wind had blown Princess Iona into the claws of a large oak. Iona wasn't sure how to get down, but she would not let the woman who tried to behead a man for making one minor mistake take charge of her kingdom. She looked to her left, and there sat a bird observing her closely. "Could you help me, little bird?" she asked before receiving a blank stare. "Oh, what am I doing? Princesses can't talk to animals," she sighed. Then the fowl took off away, only to return half an hour later with some friends. Princesses may not converse with animals, but who's to say animals cannot understand princesses? The birds flocked together and used their little claws to lift Iona from the branches. They carried her back to her castle's garden, where she was placed down in a tree in view of the groundskeeper, whom was quick to alert the guards. As she waited, Iona saw two small birds sitting on a wall, watching her. She attempted to thank them, but they flew away. A guard came soon after and lifted her out from the tree. Being carried through the castle was humiliating for the princess, but they had been carrying her around her whole life. So she grinned and bared it for the time being. They strapped her back down to her throne, just before she received a scolding from her aunt. "What did you think you were playing at, flying off like that?" The princess scowled at the old woman. "Someone had to help those poor men," she muttered under her breath, causing Makermoy to scoff in response. "They almost killed you. How was I to know you were stupid enough to—" She took a deep breath, realizing how out of line she was being. "Look, I care about you. You remind me of my departed sister Ishbel, your mother. I don't wish any harm to come of you. I've discussed with the advisors and we all agree you're not in the right state to rule." Iona slammed her fist against her armrest. "You all agree, do you? And when were you planning to coming to me? When were you going to tell me? You've been conspiring behind my back for long enough. I will control my fate, and it's my birthright for the crown of my father to be placed upon my head." Makermoy could not believe what she was hearing. "How do you expect to rule a kingdom when you're 100 feet in the air?" she retorted. Princess Iona regained her composure. "I am of the belief that watching a kingdom from above will strengthen my ability to rule. Imagine the ability to see the goings-on of your kingdom from above. Imagine the changes I could make to support my people if I could see what was going on myself." She beamed. Makermoy tutted. "So what do you want us to do? Tie ribbons to your wrists and attach them to posts and hold you up like a balloon?" Iona laughed at the suggestion. "Don't be ridiculous. We'll use ropes. They're stronger." And that is what they did. The people of Iona's kingdom adored their new queen. They waved to her from below as she kept a keen eye on the goings-on of her kingdom. Whenever she'd thought of a way to help, she'd ring a bell. She would then be pulled down and carry out the change. Her people lived in peace for many years under her watchful eye. Many princes and one or two princesses desired to marry Iona, but she refused to wed. "A consort would just hold me down," she laughed. Instead, she named one of her younger cousins her heir. She did this as soon as she learned of him being born with the ability to float. Thank you for listening to the story. I'm sorry for my awful attempt at a Scottish accent. It kind of went between Irish and Northern English. I'm so sorry to anyone from them regions for butchering your accent, but I tried. I wanted to emulate George MacDonald, who is from Scotland, and this story originated in Scotland, so I tried. For more videos like this, please subscribe to my channel. I aim to release a new video every Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday, where I call the tea days because they all have a tea in them. And I will see you next Tuesday. Oh gosh, I can't believe I just said that. My next video will be next Tuesday, and it will be a blog post on single attraction identities, which is the first video in my Under the Queer umbrella series. And my next short story, released next week, will be based on the nursery rhyme Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. So I hope to see you all soon. Have a good weekend, and bye. I literally just realised that I forgot to mention the name of this story from the beginning. So this story was called Without Restraint. Okay. Bye, for real this time.